All right, good evening. Between the government and the people, this program explains government policies and also talks about trending issues in politics. Welcome once again. My name is... Good evening, Shegun. Welcome
Good
to the
evening,
show.
viewers.
All right, so a quick one. We'll have some reports we'll be looking at today. Of course, in politics, so many things. Fuel subsidy is actually an issue that has disturbed everybody. Trust me, whether you are the rich or the poor, it has suffocated you. And also, the president has signed new program. Let me ask, how could I start talking to the people without asking Shegun, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
Okay, so
I'm fine.
in the course of this program, we'll be joined by a guest who will x-ray these issues with us today. But before then, let's quickly get to Port Harcourt and find out what is happening. Of course, politics is an ever-present entity that defies predictability and guarantees no certainties, while the possibility of some weeks known only to President Bola Tinubu, who keeps the decision close to his chest, according to people. While Wike played a significant role in the previous presidential election, causing disruptions within his own party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP.
Right.
Originally an aspirant of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Wike ended up being a thorn in the side of his party. Ultimately, Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Well, with Tinubu declared as president, albeit amid ongoing legal challenges, Wike has openly expressed his happiness, proclaiming that he made the right choice. His frequent visits to the presidential villa have made him one of the president's regular guests, alongside other governors who followed a similar path.
Yeah, that's right. Advocates of the former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, and the Social Democratic Party SDP governorship candidate, Magnus Abe, are at loggerheads over who should be appointed to deliver the state for President Bola Tinubu in the February poll. That's the presidential poll. Abe's Kadilo Kabari said the senator was the first to declare his support for Tinubu and worked for him. Talking about Magnus Abe now. Kabari, in a media chat with journalists on Wednesday in Abuja, said it was unwise for Okocha to demarket other potential candidates because of Wike's interest. Now, Kabari, who served as the Director of Election Planning and Management River by Okocha, in justifying his claim for Wike to be made a minister. So apparently, it's a local Rivers APC thingy.
Okay, why he feels he's ready or he's suitable for that position? Well, according to Okocha, well, people from the Ikwere stock, Kabari, people from the Ikwere stock of River State have been in the corridors of power for years when the state is dominated by different ethnic groups that have been marginalized for years. He stressed that he was not against anybody President Tinubu would appoint, but cautioned Okocha to desist from calling people names because of what he stands to achieve. Well, Kabari said he is worried over the export of falsehood, ethnocentric bias, bigotry, and greed that has characterized the politics and polity in Rivers State in the race of who becomes the minister from that particular state.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we can only a few are convinced of the sincerity behind that statement, of course, because we know politicians. After all, it is rare for anyone to turn down power when it is offered freely. Given Wike's previous betrayal of Atiku and the PDP, which he seems unconcerned about.
Yeah, if you want to follow his body language, you'll see that, you know, when I see him, I don't know how to say, you see, someone who is bold enough to walk into fire and damns the consequences and doesn't care. And of course, talking about Wike and politics, Wike is a strong politician.
Anyway, my approach is different. Even till tomorrow, a lot of people are shocked and you know, filled with a lot of awe that the then governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, as an incumbent governor, when one of the northern governors that was a member of the presidential committee, the APC presidential committee, when he was giving his speech, he said when he spoke to Wike, and Wike said he was going to deliver Rivers for APC, doesn't make it right. And the another shocking part is that up till now,
politics comes in.
Up till now, the PDP has not made any confirmed statement about Wike. A lot of other people were penned down for suspension. I don't know whether they've been suspended now. But I speak to you, Wike is still a vibrant PDP member. Whether I still associate with them physically or not, we don't know. And that is, we're still here to find out as politics, continues to, change and develop.
You've completed the statement, Ro. I said that's where politics comes in. So in politics, anything can happen.
True.
And of course, this man that will always find a way to come together again.
True.
All right, so a quick one. Let's move to the next report we have for you for today. But just in case you're joining us, then this is the Law of the People and Governance, where we talk trending political stories. And of course, we keep you updated and bridge the gap between you and the government. Well, in the next report, we're talking about the executive orders the president has passed administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has signed 4 executive orders, that's EOs, orders aimed at curbing arbitrary taxation policies in the country. Tinubu made this known today by his presidential spokesperson Dele Alake while speaking during an interactive session with the State House correspondents today.
Very well. And according to him, the action was a direct response to need for clarity and adequate notice for tax adjustments, as specified in the 2017 National Tax Policy.
Yeah.
Speaking further, he said one of the others, the Finance Act effective date vacation order, defers the commencement date of changes in the Act to September 1st, 2023, ensuring adherence to the 90-day notice for tax changes. Another order involves customs excise tariff, also a varied amendment order, shifting to commencement date of tax changes from August the 1st, 2023.
Well, the president has also expanded the 5% excise tax on telecommunication services, the excise duties escalation on locally manufactured product, and the newly introduced green tax on single-use plastics. Additionally, the president ordered the suspension of the import tax adjustment levy on certain vehicles. These orders aim to alleviate the negative impact of tax adjustment on businesses and, of course, households as well. So, looking at this executive orders and, of course, majorly, we had that the president was going to approve for traders and informal sectors to tax and all of that. And then still, I think they still said it's going to help curb multi-taxation.
Exactly. But I know that the ultimate objective of government is to, try and clear some taxes that are duplicated and also expand the tax net, especially with the focus to the informal sector, this day. And ideally, we know that the government needs a lot of money to run the administration. Remember that Nigeria is running on a deficit. Even our budget, is being run on a deficit because we have, a total amount of money we expect to make, and to be able to complete the budget, it's either we go borrowing or find other means, to meet up such budget.
Okay, so without wasting time, this is the program that will feature another story that we'll get to talk about elaborately. And of course, I told you that we have a guest in the house who will be talking to us today and on these topics that we are looking at today. This report that we are looking at today, we'll go on a short break. When we come right back, of course, we take a look at the impact of fuel subsidy and, of course, the stance of the NLC as well. So do stay tuned, don't go anyway. I and Shegun are going on a tea break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. I guess you're just joining us. Then this is the program, The Law, the People, and Governance here on Spectrum Television. And of course, I've been here with my co-host, Shegun. And of course, we're being joined by our guest in the house. When we come up, of course, I get to introduce him
That's
as
right.
well. So welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so quickly back to the people. When we started, we talked about the executive orders concerning one of it, majorly concerning taxation in Nigeria that the
That's
president
right.
had signed. Also took a look at what is happening in River State APC. Away from that, we are going into fuel subsidy issue here in when we come right back. I think when we are ready for him, we'll introduce him. So I just let him wait patiently for us. And then when we come back, we'll get to introduce him. I guess it's someone you already know. Well, just a reminder that fuel subsidy is an issue that affects each and every one of us. Recently, I think sometime in May, there had been a meeting between the NLC and the president, and the meeting between the president, Bola Tinubu, led federal government, and the NLC, that's the Nigerian Labour Congress, over fuel subsidy removal had ended without a consensus.
That's right.
The meeting began around 4 p.m. At the presidential villa Abuja on a Wednesday, and of course, representatives of the federal government included Dele Alake, the spokesperson for Tinubu, and the group chief executive officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, Melekiari. Other government officials present were the governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, who has been suspended, and of course, former Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole as well in that meeting.
That's right. The organized labor was represented by the NLC National President, Mr. Joe Ajero, and the President of the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, Festus Osifo. After several hours of meeting with the federal government, the NLC demanded that the federal government return to status quo by reversing the price of fuel before resuming negotiations with the NLC. The national president any formal engagement with the NLC to protect the Nigerian workforce and offer additional solutions.
Well, the NLC insisted that the federal government did not enter into any conversation, even on palliative measures for Nigerians, hence the rejection of the latest announcement. While the union said it had decided to reconvene with its members to determine the next line of action. Meanwhile, Alake described the meeting as robust, adding that talks would continue, and also expressed hope that the parties would reach a reasonable conclusion at its next adjourned meeting.
That's very correct. It's earlier reported that the NLC called on Tinubu-led federal government to immediately instruct the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, to withdraw its vexatious pricing template to allow free flow of discussions with the government on subsidy removal. It had been reported that the President Tinubu announced during his inaugural speech on Monday, on that day, at the Eagle Square, Abuja, that there would be no more fuel subsidy. And hours after the speech, long queues returned to filling stations across the country amid fuel scarcity. A few hours to the proposed meeting of organized labor with government representatives, NNPCL released a list of adjusted pump prices for its mega stations across 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory.
And according to the release price list, the new pump price for premium motor spirits, that's petrol, ranges from 488 in Lagos State to 557 per litre in Yobe and Borno State, while it is 537 naira in Abuja and Enugu, 520. While reacting to the new pricing template, the NLC had opposed it, declaring that Nigerians would not accept any manipulations of any kind from any of the parties, especially from the representatives of the government. And NLC, in a statement signed by its president, Comrade Ajaro, said they are worried that the government, through the NNPC, despite ongoing meeting of stakeholders in the oil and gas sector to manage the unilateral but unfortunate announcement by the president to withdraw subsidy on premium products, went ahead to announce a new regime of price
of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, revealed that the country spends over 400 billion naira monthly on fuel subsidies. He claimed that removing the subsidies would result in saving the same amount According to 2023 to 2035 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, MTF and FSP, the country spent 3.35 trillion on fuel subsidy in the first half of 2023. And NPCL stated that zero remittance was made to the Federation Account Allocation Committee for fuel subsidy payments. Well, till now, Nigerians continue to battle with the high.
400 billion naira, yeah, for fuel subsidy since it hadn't paid, so it had saved so far. Well, let's just go ahead to introduce our guest so we can quickly go into discussion for today. And for today, we're being joined by, I would say, our able speaker. I think the house is already used to him. So he's here with us in the person of Barrister Martin Zukbe. He's a human rights lawyer, and he is like to quickly welcome Barrister Martin Zukbe in the house. Shogun, yeah. I think it's going to be your first time meeting Barrister Martin.
Welcome, Barrister.
Thank you very much.
Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, so Barrister, a quick one, and let's just briefly get to touch the executive orders. I don't know if you've gone through them. And of course, I think you would have something to say about that. So a quick one, let's just touch that, and then we'll come back regions and areas and all kinds of life as well.
Thank you very much. Let me start this way. Of recent, there have been complaints about multiple taxation.
True.
And both local and anti-business inhibitions. And this does not only affect the framework, the taxation framework that have been put on ground. It goes down to affect the stakeholders, affect business owners. With this multiple taxation, it affects even to those at the grassroots. So you look at it from the very perspective that you look at the line of our economic tradings, it starts from the very basic and to the top. So when we are having multiple taxation system, it affects everybody on the chain. That is why you can see that it will even affect the price of Maggi in the market.
And you know, it gets to affect the poorer people as well.
Yes, of course. Those are the people that really bears this brunch. You can talk about multiple taxation at the high level of industrial and capitalist productions. It might not really affect them, though they are the ones that are already complaining right now. But the people that really bear this brunch are those at the grassroots. Those people that are trying to gather a little economic price. So I personally want to commend the president for taking this bold step, because it will make of course, the president should know that the first thing to do in the kind of economy that we have now is the economy has dilapidated to a state that if proper economic policies is not put in place, it will collapse. So the the executive order signed by the president.
But let's quickly come down to the fuel subsidy issue, and of course, this is one thing that has disturbed us a whole lot. This is an issue that has affected Nigerians. Like I said, without you know, transportation is part of cost of living, cost of buying goods and services, and a whole lot. This is one issue that has affected so many Nigerians. So let's even get to talk about you know, necessary things to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy at all. You know, let's start from that point.
In as much as we have discussed about this issue of removal of present presidents that removed fuel subsidy, it was only the statements made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at Eagle Square on his inaugural
on May 29th,
speech, yes, that sparked what we are experiencing.
So it was removed, but implementation was
the 31st June. Yes, June. Of course, with the statement or without the statement, fuel subsidy would have still ended. That's one. Then two, fuel subsidy should go. I like to describe it in my own words that fuel subsidy could be likened to an institutionalized crime.
Why do you say?
Of course. Okay, let's take a bit to the Goodluck Jonathan administration. the Goodluck Jonathan-led administration of 2009 to 2015 subsidized petroleum products throughout that region. But the 9 naira or 97 naira, meaning that even when they were still subsidizing this fuel, at least there was enough and sufficient fuel and petroleum products in the country to be used. Though we are against the subsidy because the elites who at the detriment of Nigerians. But now, like I said the other day, that it's not about removing fuel subsidy. It's about government being sincere. Can we trust this government? For me, no. You can't trust this government.
When you say government being sincere,
yes,
like sincere
yes.
on what part?
Very well, very well. Now, I'm saving the money from fuel subsidy.
2 months hasn't passed.
Okay, 2 months hasn't passed, but a month has passed.
Yes.
Because I saw, is it Sarah asking the federal government to explain how they have used the money saved so far. If federal government said they were subsidizing fuel with 400 and something billion
naira,
it means they must have saved some amount of billions already from the 1 month that fuel hasn't been subsidized.
Yes, they came out to say that 400 billion naira has been saved so far.
Saved at where? Listen, the essence of signing the FOI bill into law, where we now have information to make information or government information at public domain for it to be accessible to the common man, especially you people, the press. So, but in a situation whereby government conceal very important information that should be useful to all Nigerians, it's out, and this is where we are challenging this money too. Why do we have representatives? It is for us to tell our representatives, this is what federal government should use the money to do. Okay, let me the tariff, the executive order that the president has just signed. Now, I keep saying that laws are not the problem of Nigeria.
Implementation?
And corruption on the part of the stakeholders, those who are saddled with the responsibility to implement these laws. Okay, if we want to go deep,
okay, so you'd like to just point out a few because you said it's much, so you could just use 1 or 2 as an example.
No, Barrister.
Yes,
of course we know that even the corruption is a very, very sophisticated level. But
highly sophisticated level.
Away from that, my concern more is about administration of Bola Tinubu. Just few days into his administration, or even few hours, we were told it ended in a stalemate. Okay. The personal question that a lot of people would like to ask: everybody knows that fuel subsidy removal is really, affecting the average common man. Do you think that at this point, with all the proceedings so far,
basically, I've said this before in this same program, that I do not trust the NLC, because we have seen the way constituted unions have become an example of the academic staff union of the university as the other day. Now, the NLC is sitting on the fence. I will explain what I mean. What I mean there is them protesting federal government do not remove fuel subsidy. Yes, but they are telling the federal government this and this, A and B and C, is supposed to be done first. But later on, even before the NLC made that demand, they had threatened to shut down the economy.
True.
Which I supported. Why I supported shutting down the economy is because you cannot just wake up one morning and say there is no more fuel subsidy. You are going to plunge millions of Nigerians into unnecessary something or nothing and expect it to stand.
That is true.
So the federal government should have put something on something first.
Okay, so what are the things you felt
I've not answered the question. I've not touched on the very issue of the NLC, which you asked me if they are fighting the interests of the common man.
Yes.
I said I don't trust the NLC because we have seen situations whereby the NLC to a round table,
and you don't hear the outcome.
You don't hear the outcome. Even when you hear the outcome, it's not what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
They will be jilted and they will throw in the towel, and before you know it, the whole brouhaha has ended.
That's right.
And you won't know the reason. The next thing is to come back and communicate with your state chapters.
Yes.
I know that they used to vote. If the majority say, let's shut down the economy, they will shut down the economy. But this one, they did not even...
The very first meeting they had, I think what they said was that federal government must recapitulate, that is, return back to status quo before they even begin negotiations, which the federal government has refused.
Although they accepting to enter the negotiation table, mean that position will be overtaken by...
We are very correct.
Good. So now, they have not made any reasonable step, at least, to ensure that federal government reverts on table, because it is really affecting the common man. And now, you see that the PPPRS, in fact, let me say, the petroleum downstream are capitalizing on it.
They are. Of course they are.
Yes. Marketers, distributors, everybody are capitalizing on it. Now, of course, the president has already maintained his position and is very tried on that. He said, we are not going back. What are we left with now? We are left with only one option. And what's the option? Is for NLC to take action. And once NLC is able to take action,
the NLC involving in some kind of industrial action now will further plunge the masses that are already suffering from the removal of subsidy into more.
Yes.
So that means you are a stickler for NLC.
Sometimes you see,
going
I embrace
exactly
the theories of war, that it is only through war that you can achieve lasting peace.
True.
Now, there is no Africa in theory, in the book.
That is true.
Our economy was once the largest economy and the most vibrant and articulated economy.
At least up until Goodluck's Jonathan's administration.
Now we cannot. In fact, our economy is at the brink of collapsing to God knows where. So the NLC has to take action. There is no way NLC will take action and address the issue on ground first. Now, remember that before Buhari left, he had applied to the National Assembly for for
judgment debt.
Okay. As palliative,
to
cushion the effects of the removal of subsidy.
Of the first subsidy. But I don't think that the National Assembly had assented to that, consented to that.
No, but still on the administration of His Excellency Bola Tinubu inherited an administration that already is owing close to 80-something trillion naira.
Yes.
As at the last budget that was passed before Tinubu came in, Nigeria will be employing some kind of taking of extra loans to up to almost 40 to 50% to be able to service this budget, is to have, maybe remain with the fuel subsidy regime. If not, what do you think Tinubu should have done in the first instance? Recall, it's still less than 40 days in office, and there are a lot of things
President Tinubu, upon assumption of office, should have done. First, the statement made by Tinubu on the inaugural day was uncalled for. It was
totally uncalled
necessary.
For. Everybody agrees.
That aside, then on ground that will cushion the effect of the removal.
Exactly.
One, we have 3 refineries in Nigeria.
Is it 3 or 4?
Okay. 4?
I think we have up to 4. There's Kaduna, there's Warri, there's Parakat, and there's one other.
I know the 3 that you have mentioned.
Okay.
You are not going to deal with fuel subsidy in your government. The first thing is, there's nothing wrong in borrowing again. Though we are close to our threshold. But
he has applied to borrow.
Yes, he has applied to borrow. Even when we are saying
according to your statement, that the National Assembly is not
has given a nod.
Exactly.
Go on 1 or 2 of the refineries.
I agree with you totally.
If Port Harcourt and Kaduna refinery can produce at least 7 to 11 million barrels per day, then we know that we have sufficient fuel for domestic consumption. The refinery will start working before the end of the year. Why we now wait to leverage on that? Maybe the first 6 months of your government, you subsidize fuel. You using these 6 months to put necessary modalities on ground.
That is true.
Then after 6 months, that's by the end of this year, you take out fuel subsidy. Wouldn't have cost Nigerian what it has cost now.
Some other people would argue that while you stand at that position, you are standing. A lot of people are saying that Tinubu has been able to do what a lot of successive past administrations have not had the boldness to do. We could recall Buhari was at the...
Let me tell you something, Shegun.
Yes.
Do you know why people are saying that Tinubu has done what past administration couldn't do? One, because Tinubu inherited a government that did nothing. That in fact,
in your own opinion,
former president Muhammad Buhari,
yeah,
a long time for him to be able to change his service chiefs.
True.
But Tinubu just came in and, like a child, assumed that office. The powers are embedded in you, so you have the powers to do these things. Yeah. But since Buhari couldn't do it when it was necessary, when it was time for him to do it, now Tinubu has done it, and people are seeing it as if it really draw that conclusion whether these actions are taken in the best interest of Nigerians.
Exactly.
Because we have seen governments that comes in, and I'm not going to maintain the position that this decisions taken by the president is for the interest. In fact, let me say this: those decisions are not even necessary for now. What is necessary for now is that President Tinubu should his economy to enlarge. Let the economy accommodate everybody, the downtrodden.
True.
There is poverty in Nigeria.
True.
And these people,
presidents,
I have just mentioned one. I've just mentioned one. Let the cost of governance be cut to size. You can see the fleet of cars.
Even the total number of cars in the president's convoy, people are saying it is
catching fire. It's catching fire on social media.
I'm hearing something like 100 plus or thereabout.
The utility vehicles and be going on a fleet of cars.
Okay, so we are here now.
Yes, we are.
Tinubu may have, according to you, Tinubu may have made some mistakes with the fuel subsidy. The NLC, was supposed to take certain actions according to you.
They have not taken the action.
We are here now. Fight for the interest of the average common Nigerian.
Let me leave you to answer that first.
Okay. Like I already said, that the essence of a union, for example, the TUC, the NLC, ASU, and other interests of these people, there are pathfinders you must tow. For the NLC, they have peaceful demonstration, protests, strikes, boycotts, shutting the economy, and what have you. You can't stage a physical confrontation with the government that will amount to something else.
That's treason.
That's treason. It will amount to treason. So these are the options that NLC must explore. Okay, you just told me that yesterday they had a meeting with the federal government and it ended in a deadlock.
It wasn't yesterday. That was where back May 30th. There was no amount of protest that could make him stop that.
Okay, already he has read the demeanor of the NLC.
True.
They are saying that these people are weak. If the NLC should stand up today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, NLC to take action, they know the best action they should take.
You've only given them options.
Options.
I thought you would advise.
No, I am no.
Because I particularly take exception.
I particularly the best option that would
feel it will be worse. It's like saying
shutting down.
It's like saying you have a wound and then it is salt that will heal it, and you know that salt will kill it, and then you put salt or something. I think it will be too strenuous on the average common man. Because industrial action will mean maybe essential services like power. You now see Nigerians having such hardships and they can't even have access to basic services like health.
And at the end of the day, what the president wants to do, he will still do.
No, there's no way the president will do. Shegun, let me ask you, have you witnessed shutting down of the economy by the NLC? And there is never a time, very devastating, yes. There's never a time that the NLC will shut down the economy and the federal government will not be on their toe.
That was when Obasanjo was president. They raised fuel to, I can't remember the exact amount, and then NLC shuts down. They just drop it marginally.
At least they will shift ground. But for now, you see that the federal government, I can use the word joke. They are joking with NLC because they know that the NLC are not ready to do anything.
They don't have the
willpower.
Now,
you see that, and I bet you will see the next meeting they will have again, it will end in a deadlock. It will end in a stalemate. And the federal mention, you will see that the next meeting that they will have with the NLC, they will come out with a good decision that will affect the entire Nigerians.
So you think the whole job is just it's just the NLC that can help the whole of Nigeria at this point? Do you think some other actions cannot be taken by other people?
Well, talking about action by the entire Nigerians, of course we are going the path of treason, and that is, I will not support that.
Okay, so quick
I didn't
one.
mean it that way. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
And we hope that next time when we call you, you'll be here.
Very well.
Thank you.
All right, so this is me coming back to the people. Thank you so much for staying glued to your TV station, Spectrum TV. We've been talking about fuel subsidy. So catch you again next week, but don't forget to follow us on social media. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. And also follow us on Twitter at SpectrumT Online.
Hinoma Olusegun. See you next week.